So I'm going to ask them what is their real ambition. Is it just keep on directing movies or just write movies or do both or just start becoming a producer? So let's hear it from you. What's your next logical step in your life? You've done the direction part of it.
We would love to produce. I mean, that has always been there in the sense that ultimately we would love to be writing, directing on one side and have a production house where we are producing these scripts which tickle our fancy. I mean, like it has to be something which.
So then why not be a producer, director, whatever? But you just say I just want to be a producer and get someone else to do it.
Yeah, eventually. But to be a producer, you need the money.
You need money.
So
yes.
A little more of the turning process has to happen.
Okay.
So I mean, like when that happens, when some kind of funding happens, we'll like look at scripts which we are kind
How
of.
do the banks deal with all this? Are they still open to all this stuff in India?
Banks
They just talk a lot about it.
No, actually, banks are giving. I mean, there are a couple of banks which specifically have funds allotted to
Film
films
financing,
as
film
such.
financing.
But generally, for you to get that, you'll have to be an established production house.
Okay.
Like a production
Not
house.
just a name. You have to have a proper production
like
house.
Yeah,
you should have been producing for the past couple of.
You have a track
years
record and then
stuff.
they'll.
Like AVM will be able to get.
Okay,
back
also
funding.
for all you youngsters who listening to them and you think you can also become a producer if you have money, the point is now with digital cinema, there's no darn negative to even pledge. So, what do they do, the
It's
banks?
based on the project. And you'd be surprised, like banks also look at it like how a producer
producer will
looks
look
at
at it, or a
So who's
financier
the
will look at it.
hero associated with the
Ah,
project?
yeah,
Who's the
yeah.
music director associated with the project?
They also have to do their research.
Yeah. I mean, like they become financiers at the end of
Yes,
it.
yes.
It's just that the interest
So
rate is
at least
lower.
on paper, it should be a viable project. I mean, then what happens is a different thing. But, at least
But
on
this
paper-
viableness, is it something that the banks are trained to do? I mean, do they understand the
No,
nuances
what
of
will happen
cinema?
is they will get somebody in as a consultant who would be just an industry insider,
Okay.
and they would end up getting fed the same kind of information which any other financier is getting fed, saying like so and so.
So it's a proper feedback.
Yeah, it'll be, but industry feedback.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. I mean,
So they won't. I don't think you can get bank funding for like a unique project, something which is kind of out of the box out there.
This also automatically makes us believe that the entire industry is regulated, that there is proper information and the feedback is correct. Like if you take the housing industry or some other industry, the figures,
Actually, I mean,
how many
that is,
flats is that, steel car, cement is that.
not yet in.
That's a
not
very
yet in
sad-
South.
No wonder the banks are just running away at full speed.
Actually, at least in Hindi, you have those figures. I mean, kind of right. Here, you really don't know if the movie is working or if it's running or if it's not. Because if you ask three people, like the producer, three different sources, each one will give you one report.
So it's kind of difficult for anybody who wants to invest in this industry, right? I mean, there has actually been a lot of interest from investors based outside the country, as we call them NRI investors.
Yes.
So there are a bunch of people who were interested at one point of time, but the point is to get the information right. No, I mean, like what
that's
are the
what it
figures
is.
happening? It just turned out to be an like non-existent data which they were searching for. So a lot of them just gave up and went away. Or
So
they
when you
became-
got your first producer who backed your project, was somebody who was an insider who already knew the
Yeah,
business.
yeah.
So you
He's
didn't
a
have to
regular,
give him some snow job, tell him some
No,
nonsense
no.
figures and
No. It's like
Paint a
They're
picture of the
proper.
first-
I mean, they were from. I mean,
the
they
industry.
Used,
they have produced a couple of films before. Our second producer had also produced one film before, Sashi from Why Not Studios. He's an architect, our second film's producer.
Okay.
But he had already put his foot into the industry. He made Tamil Padam as his
that
first film.
spoof thing.
Yeah.
So he kind of knew the industry. Now he's a well-established producer who's like looking.
And
at
why
the
not,
market.
as they
Why
say.
not,
He's
yeah.
made
So his,
two big ones.
Actually, he S.P. Charan, who made Chennai 28 and R&D
Yes.
Then now there is Thirukumaran Entertainment, which did Sudukavum and before that Pizza. So these are producers who are now at the cutting edge of Tamil cinema at least. I mean, like they are looking at scripts which are interesting, which
they are like deliberately going for things which are out of the box, which are kind of unique.
Is it also influenced by their budgets? I mean, they're going for not so large, gigantic star
right
cast.
now, what Why Not is producing is actually a fairly large budget.
Yeah. What did large film in Tamil mean?
Okay, let's take it this way. A small budget film is about 2.5 to 3 crores. A medium budget will go between 4 to 8, 9 crores.
So this 2 to 3 is a viable film. It
Not
will end up
necessarily.
making money.
No, not really,
not
not
necessarily.
really.
I mean, 150 films released last year, out of which maximum.
I mean, a 2 crore picture would make that kind of returns. It won't make the same as a 50
No,
crore.
no,
But
no, it is actually even more riskier, because that losing the 2 crore is much more possible. But if you're doing like something with 7, 8 crores and like having a small star, it is still like you can market it and kind of sell the project.
so the money is going into the marketing now.
Actually,
Finally,
let me put it this way. Last year there were a bunch of films which were released, which were made for about 1.75 crores.
give me a name of one that did well in that
I
bracket.
can't. Which did well. I can tell you. Nadulu
Pizza
Koncham
did
Padathakanam,
well.
Pizza.
Okay, they were all in the under 2 crore bracket,
Yeah.
including
No, not
publicity,
including
shop-
publicity.
No, not
production.
just
including
production
production.
costs.
Just
So what did
production
they lay out for that?
The publicity would be another 1.5 crores, 1 crore, 1.5 crores kinds. But then the publicity part was taken care of once you get distribution. So the person who comes in and says, "I'm going to buy your film and distribute it," usually brings in the publicity cost as his.
Contribution to the
Into
entire
the
project.
kitty.
So now we'll just take a break now. When we come back, we'll do the last bit about their first 2 movies. I'm still intrigued by the fact that they did that movie on the auto. And what is that movie called itself?
OramPo.
OramPo. Oh, you had to change the name, wasn't
Yes, it was called
Oh,
Auto first.
the English name, and then they couldn't use that. And then they came back with quarter cutting. That was both are brilliant according to me. So we'll come back and find out about that.